of the Leviathan. The Leviathan symbolizes life, health, community, and creativity. The first two things are fairly self-explanatory. It is the other two that will be the focus. Community and our instinct to live that way come from our evolution as a social species. A group of like-minded individuals can find mutual benefit in association. The sharing of the joys of life with companions makes those moments all the more sweet. Sometimes you might find yourself doing things to help others, but when you need it, you should find these others coming to your aid. Even the most independent and individualistic people need allies and a support system. You do not want to be the outcast by yourself, and you cannot effect as much change if you are the lone adversary. Community can help in your endeavors and allow you to be part of the interesting activities others might be planning. Community should be individuals who happen to have converging interests and goals. They should never be a collective of sheep blindly following for no reason other than to follow. There is a large and important difference here. One is satanic, the other is slavery. Creativity is another important thing. Even people who do not see themselves as creative will be good at something. The Satanist should find what they are good at and refine that skill. Having something one is good at gives one a sense of accomplishment and purpose. It is also one of those pleasures of something one is good at. A large and important difference here. One is satanic, the other is slavery. Creativity is another important thing. Even people who do not see themselves as creative will be good at something. The Satanist should find what they are good at and refine that skill. Having something one is good at gives one a sense of accomplishment and purpose. It is also one of those pleasures of life which call out for our indulgence. With a community of people who all have at least some sort of creative ability, those abilities can be combined to do amazing things. It is kind of like the concept of emergence, where you end up with something that is more than the sum of its parts. Like the brain, for example. It is just made up of cells, and none of the cells have any conscious thought. But put together as they are, it results in the existence of a conscious mind. Through communal emergence, you can create a very powerful adversary, one that can bend the world just a little to the desires of your will, one that can effect change to a greater extent than could any one person. It is the closest thing there is to magic. Its power is limited only by the community and their combined creative energies. Ceremonies and celebrations are a great thing for a community to have. I created a set of ceremonies. I had written them out mostly as customizable templates, but I never was completely happy with them. I think the reason is that if any of it is pre-written, it loses the personal meaning it should have. Writing specifics should be up to the satanic priest or other practitioner, and the person or persons involved. With my following explanation, you should be able to make your own. With all of these, you decide exactly what is said, how it goes, if there is ritual involved, and if so, what that ritual is. I have 7 of them, which I call the 7 satanic ceremonies. The announcing is for an expectant woman or couple. It is a very special time for individuals who decide to have children and should be acknowledged. The welcoming is when a new person is welcomed to the world, and the caregivers pledge to do their best. The transitioning marks the end of childhood and the beginning of adolescence, around the age of 13. This is a time of more freedom and more responsibility. It also marks the beginning of a difficult time in the lives of most people. The becoming is when you reach physical adulthood at 18. However, it never really ends until your life does. You are always becoming a better person than you were the day before, as you travel the left-hand path. The joining is for welcoming and initiating new members. It can be as simple or elaborate as you want. The wedding can be anything you want. Consenting adults are the only prerequisite. The ending is like a funeral. It is a celebration of the life which recently ended. It is also a final farewell, but mostly it is about celebrating and commemorating a life. How one does this, or if one does any of them at all, is up to the individual. These are just here in case you want to create your own in this format. Ultimately, you decide what works best for you. The narrative of Baal. Baal symbolizes individualism, independence, and accomplishment. This aspect is an animated and anthropomorphized representation of the left-hand path. This path is about the discovery, acceptance, and fulfillment of self. Though it might seem a paradox, individualism and independence are actually critical traits to have in members of any community. This leads to accomplishment, and only through these individual accomplishments do we get the emergence mentioned in the previous section. Being an individual, thinking for yourself, and refusing to blindly follow are critically important and definitive traits of Satanism. It should be pointed out that this is different from stubbornness and contrarianism. Being a reverse sheep really is not any better than being a regular sheep. The left-hand path is sometimes viewed as selfish, or some even portray it that way when they hold selfishness up as a virtue,